Hi everyone, thank you for clicking on this video and welcome. I've never made any guides or tutorials before, so please bear with me. I really value any feedback, so please drop a comment below with anything that you liked or thought I could explain a little bit better. So I've been drifting on Assetto Corsa for about 5 months now. I'm just going to cover today how I personally learned, got into it, and hopefully I can provide you with a few tips to get you started. Every day is a day to improve, and the main thing to keep in mind is just keep drifting fun and learn at your own pace. Don't worry about anyone else, your friends, or anything you see on YouTube. You'll get there 100%. Just stick with it and have a good time. So today I will just go through some points around how to drift in Assetto Corsa, and at the end of the video I will share with you some of my settings, the car pack I recommend, and hardware that I'm currently using. Any tracks or cars that we use today will all be in the description below. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so this is lesson 1, or a bunch of tips and tricks. Number 1 is how to initiate a simple drift just using the throttle, and basically just using the car's power to get into a drift. So we're using the S14 from WDTS on Project Toge. I first learned to drift on this sort of circuit, if you like, by using the circular piece of track and just using the throttle to make the car lose traction, then counter steering to hold that drift angle. It's very important to squeeze the throttle rather than just stomping down and off, stomping down and off. When you get into a drift, you want to modulate the pedal to keep your drift going, like squeeze it sort of thing. You don't want to like 100% and then 0. You want to like 90% down to 60, like sort of. You get a feel for it after a while, but you'll see in a second what I mean with the little pedal diagram down here. Basically my goal when doing this was to hold the drift for a full lap of the circle. It took me a long time to get a hang of it, but once you do it, it's very rewarding. So yeah, I'll move on and show you now. Okay, so what you want to do is get a feel, first of all, of what it's like when the car loses traction. So you feel the turbo kicking in probably about 4,000, 5,000 revs. Once it does, you'll notice the car wants to spin out, lose traction, such as this. Boom. You see that? So you got to about 4,500 and the car wanted to just spin out. So I'll do that once again. And you want to do this a couple of times just to get used to the car and when it goes and spins. So there we go. So once you got that down, and I'll change to first person because I cannot do it in third for some reason, is you want to learn how to catch the steering. So let the wheels sort of slide through your hands and then catch it at the right point to sort of hold that drift angle. So I'll show you how to do that next. 4,500. Let it slip through your fingers and then keep that accelerator going. Tiny adjustments with the wheel. And that's sort of how you would initiate, I suppose, which is sort of 2 steps. 1, car loses traction, and then you catch it with the wheel at the perfect point. So we'll do that once again. 4,500. Back end will be lost. Counter steer. And then use that accelerator to kind of keep your drift going. And do this a few times. Don't have to be perfect, as you can see. I'm nowhere near perfect. But this is kind of, you know, how you should learn the first steps. I don't usually move my steering wheel too much, but just enough to keep it on the right track. It's mostly about acceleration feel when you're learning this. So another thing I thought would be good to sort of tell you about is left foot braking, which, you know, is good to learn on this piece of track because you can see how it brings your car into the corner. So if you're going a bit wide or you're losing a bit of angle, you can, you know, use a combination of more acceleration or a bit of left foot braking to bring your car back into the corner and sort of swing out a bit. I'll try to do my best now to show you. So we've got the drift, and if you want to bring the car into the corner a bit, you can do a brake. So you see when I press the brake, it will bring the car back into the apex. Boom. Brake, goes back in. Brake, goes back in. Brake, goes back in. So you can use that brake to keep your angle nice and tight to the corner. And again. Bit close, but you get the idea. Bit left foot braking, and just kind of practice with it, man. You don't need to do it perfect every time. It took me probably like a whole day to learn how to do this. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, and we'll move on to something else. Okay, so now hopefully you got the sort of basic feel of how it is to initiate a drift, hold the drift, use your accelerator and brake to keep going, hold the angle, extend the drift out. There's another way to initiate a drift, which I'm sure you've all heard of, called clutch kicking. So this is where you dip the clutch pedal to bring up the revs of the engine for a split second, and then using those higher revs to spin the rear wheels. When releasing the clutch, then it will initiate that drift. It's quite hard to explain without sort of showing you, so I'll do my best to sort of demonstrate that now for you. Okay, so it's the same sort of concept as before, but rather than using the turbo of the engine or the power of the engine to initiate that drift and lose traction, you're going to dip the clutch, which you can see in the blue bar here, and when you push down the clutch, you're then going to give it some gas, and when you release that clutch, it's going to put that car into a spin. So I'll show you like this. Clutch down, revs, release, and then you got your drift. Using that brake, using the accelerator, small adjustments, and that's it. You can also use the clutch kick to give it more of an angle, such as this, if you're losing power, because you don't want to lose revs mid-drift, so I'll sort of show you how that works now. So you see, it was losing revs, and then we used the clutch again to put it back into the slide. I'll show you once more. Use the clutch. And again. Okay, so we're going to go on to the last part of this tutorial, and thank you very much for sort of watching this far into the video. It really means a lot, and appreciate it, as I'm very new to this whole YouTube scene. So on to sort of connecting drift. So we're going to use the drift playgrounds, which is a good place to sort of start learning to drift a full circuit in street style drift cars. So when connected drifts, I want you to really sort of picture that the rear end of the car is like a pendulum. So what you want to do is try to learn how to shift the weight of the car from corner to corner and keep that momentum up. If you notice your revs are slightly low, try to do that clutch kick that we just went through. Do it here and there just to get the engine into the high rev range and continue that drift on. Also, you can use that left foot braking that we spoke about, sort of blipping it between corners, and it will just keep that angle and bring the car around a little bit for you. So hopefully we'll sort of show you now exactly what I mean. So what we'll do is we'll just do a little warm up here, clutch kick into a sort of drift, and then use the weight of the car and the acceleration control to go into the second sort of corner. You really want to use that weight of the car. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just do a lap of the circuit. Just keep your eye on the pedal control. I will be using a handbrake at some point just out of habit, but I'll explain that in another video if you guys want me to do another one covering the handbrake and things and additional techniques. But yeah, I'll leave you just before we move on to the last part of the video with just a full lap, so you can keep an eye on how I do it. Okay, so that should hopefully cover the basics, and now let's end this tutorial with a few of the cars I recommend trying out and an overview of my current settings and hardware I use. If you enjoyed this video, please drop me a comment below and consider subscribing for more. I will get out a part 2 if you guys enjoyed this and you'd like to learn a few more things that I've picked up along the way learning. The car pack I recommend is the WDTS Street Pack. It's packed full of street drift cars with low enough horsepower to keep the car under control, and straight out the box these cars feel great with minimal tuning. You got things like the 180SX, the Laurel, you got the 13, 14 and 15 Sylvia, the Skyline, you got the 34, 32, A86, other classic JDM sort of cars. They all feel really good. I've driven them all, and there's not one I don't like. I just use the S14 because that was what I sort of learnt in. Okay, so quick overview of my settings real quick. I use the 900-degree steering setting for my wheel. I use the T300 sort of YouTube guides to get a good feel of what was good for my exact setup, and I recommend you just looking online on Google and YouTube and just finding your wheel and what works best for your wheel and what everyone else is sort of using, and then do sort of slight adjustments from there according to what you're looking for. And one final thing I want to just say is I found very useful is teleport to pits bound to a button on my wheel. Therefore, if I'm on a toge or if I'm on an online server and I quickly need to get off the track, out of someone's way, or just back to the start, I can just press that button and boom, I'm back. So when it comes down to my hardware, I originally started learning with a G29 Logitech, which is pretty good. It was okay. But this T300 by Thrustmaster is definitely what I would recommend. Belt driven, and it just feels really good to use. Solid piece of kit. I got the pedals with it as well, so this is the sort of exact package I got. I also got the wired Logitech shifter. I do need an adapter for it, so I wouldn't recommend this necessarily unless you're using the Logitech G29, but you can buy this and a little adapter to plug it into your PC. And also I have this dodgy eBay style handbrake, but hey, it does the job, and for £60 you can't go wrong. But anyway, I'm glad you guys have stayed till. So finally, thank you very much for sticking to the end of the video. Appreciate your time. Comment, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. Trying to build up a few more subscribers on the channel and enjoying sort of creating these drifted videos. Never done a tutorial, like I said, so I'm sorry if there was some confusing aspects, but hope you enjoyed yourself here, and stick around for next time, and I'll see you in the next one.